Hello everyone, welcome back to Optimize Evony. Today we'll be doing a little bit of a battle report analysis from the last Battle of Constantinople. We ended up winning and we won pretty handily, so I wanted to kind of go through and analyze some of the reports that we had done. We didn't actually kill all of the enemy. They did have one really massive player that came in at the end after we had kind of all exhausted all of our troops, and so we sent a couple rallies at him, but basically time was starting to expire, and we ended up just kind of waiting out the rest of the event. But yeah, let's dive right into it. So first, I guess we can talk about our attacks on the big guy. So we can first look at the scout report. Really solid defense general, tons of troops, basically 10 million of every troop going down. I think probably they had already attacked some. And let's look at the buffs. The buffs are really solid here. Like 900s to 1,000 buffs on all of the attack and defense. A little bit low on mount HP, but I think this might have been before this person had actually buffed up, and they probably had used some super buffs or something. So let's actually dive into the report. No reinforcements. So by the time we had gotten to this person, pretty much everyone else on their team was dead. So not too much reinforcing power there. So this was, they came in at 13.5 billion, and this was an archer rally that we sent at them. Pretty small archer rally. As you can see, it's only a little bit under 15 million troops, which in this day and age is pretty low. And if we had more troops in it, we would have definitely done better against here. So let's look at the buffs here. So the buffs here are definitely better than the last report that we looked at. 1425 range troop attack. Not that matters too much on defense, but you can see that the mount buffs have definitely improved here. 1053 mount defense and 848 mount HP. That mount HP is pretty low for someone of this caliber, and so I think they were maybe, it looks like they're targeting siege HP instead of siege HP and ground HP instead of mount HP. Which can work out well, because a lot of times as a big player you'll get sieged first rather than an archer. But with these kind of crazy rally sizes, 50 million rally sizes, obviously we didn't send that at this person, but with that 848, he's probably going to lose most, if not all, of his mounts and a lot of other troops. And you can also see in the debuff section down here, debuff was 704 mount, or 704 ranged troop attack. So if you look at our buffs, it was 1602 was the attack buffs. So most of that was debuffed. There was only 200% that was not debuffed. And so and probably for most of the people joining the rally, theirs were fully debuffed, because I think I was setting this rally, and my buffs are better than a lot of the people that were joining the rally. So let's look into the details a little bit. Pretty standard. Let's see. 7 people joined. And like I said, this was kind of at the end, so I think a lot of people didn't have great troops left, which is probably why we didn't kill more. It looks like this person was maybe sending the wrong general. That doesn't look like his normal archer general, but did send archer troops. And let's look at probably the more important, the more interesting section is the defending. So even though we only had less than 15 million in that rally, and a lot of it was pretty dusty, not good solid marches like we would have at the beginning, we still killed over 5 million T14 calves, and not really too much else. Some other random cav layers, but not too much. And that was really what we were trying to do. We were aiming to go in and try and come close to coming even by killing as many of his T14s as possible, so that we would get points. Because the main thing we were trying to do was get points to qualify for All-Stars. So we then actually sent a second rally at him. So this is what he had left after that. So you can see the 5 million T14 calves still. So we wanted to take those out as well. And let's see what his buffs show here. Yeah, still not very high. So I think some of those buffs just apply when they're being attacked, when they're defending. So yeah, you won't be able to see all of it in a scout. Okay, so this time we sent a little bit more actually at them. Like 17 million, 17.5 million at him. And we actually did a little bit better this time, but he did actually get one March of Rains, and we can check that out later. But yeah, we ended up killing a lot more troops this time, 8 million. And yeah, let's look into the details. Buffs are still relatively the same. Mount HP might have gone up a touch. And yeah, let's look into the details. So this time we did have a lot more people joining. So we had, let's see, 9 people joining, but some of our bigger joiners didn't make this rally. And I think, we probably still have some not so great marches going in here. Again, Trajan sending with an archer march, probably not the best. And yeah, but we did definitely have more here, which definitely helped. So then on the defense side, let's quick look at that reinforcement. Reinforcement is ground and siege, which is what you want to send if there's an archer rally coming. And so this was actually ideal. This is actually what they wanted to do here. So because of this, our attack was probably slightly less effective. But let's look at what this actually kind of killed. And so we took out basically the rest of the T14 calves, and then 17 or 1.7 million of the T13 calves, which was good. Again, if we were at full power, we probably would have taken off a little bit more, but I was pretty happy at what this was taking off at this stage in the game. And then yeah, if we look at some of what we were sending, I seem to remember that yeah, look at that 1.5 million T10, and the rest T11. So basically everything else was kind of dead at that point. So not a super strong showing at that point, but we still did some damage. And so this kind of shows that really no one is invincible at this point. Even someone who has pretty good buffs. I mean, this person has better buffs than defense buffs, attack buffs, whatever, than anyone in our alliance. But even with that, because we had people that we could rally and they didn't get reigns, or they didn't get enough reigns, we still did pretty okay against it. If we had attacked earlier in in the match and they hadn't gotten rains, we probably would have taken off way more damage, and we could have come closer to actually killing this this account. But yeah, that was kind of the first big one, or the last account that we kind of tried attacking, and we didn't actually zero him. But it still does show that even big accounts are vulnerable. So let's go a little bit more into some of the other reports. Quickly, just solo. I ended up coming out ahead, but killed a lot of troops. I think this is basically because I was very low on mounts at that point, and so didn't do too much damage to me, but still killed most of my layers there. Then what's next? Let's see. This was just a ground clear, not really too much here. Let's see what was in here. Yeah, basically some small ground and range and siege. So pretty typical ground clear. Nothing too special there. My buffs aren't amazing by any standard, so I'm not gonna be bragging on that. Yeah, let's look at maybe. Okay, I think this is a series of attacks that we did on this other player. So this was the initial scout report. Pretty decent layers, a little weak on the low end, but has some T1 calves. Buffs are okay, not amazing. Mount HP is pretty low. So this, if I saw this and I was looking to attack this based on what I'm seeing here and kind of what I'm seeing up here, they're pretty cav heavy. They're built pretty evenly, but they definitely still are cav heavy. And so with that, I would probably attack first with range. Range is typically the strongest. You're going to kill the most. Even if you kind of overkill with range, you're going to kill the opponent's range and sometimes even ground, top level ground if you kill a lot. But let's see what we actually did. I think, yeah, we ended up doing a siege rally on this person, which if we look at it, maybe wasn't the best. Their siege buffs are definitely better than their mount buffs, and mount is a little bit more vulnerable. And also, just realistically, our alliance is not. We have a couple of good players that have pretty decent siege, but other than that, it's not wowing anyone here. There's a lot of players that still need to figure out kind of their siege setup and need to build up their generals, and also build up T11s. So yeah, this was T11 siege. Didn't do amazing. T12s did actually a lot more damage, which might be because of the T12 should be targeted first anyways. So but yeah, pretty standard here. Yeah, it looks like some people just sent kind of just random stuff with the crown general. Interesting. Yeah, this as well. I would not recommend doing this. This is one, they sent troops without a general, so didn't kill. It ended up killing more than it lost, but it definitely is not a layered march and doesn't have a general there. So that definitely did not do as much damage as it could have. And then this, yeah, didn't do too amazing. Let's look at what they lost. They did have some rains. We got some cav rains in there. Cav rains can do okay against a siege bomb, which is why that they probably put those cav rains in there. So yeah, let's look at kind of what we killed. We didn't clear the T14 siege on defense, which is, in my opinion, a little bit of a loss. We didn't have enough people, and it looked like some people were not sending the right troops. So really, we should have cleared that T14s and maybe gotten even into some of the T13s and T12s. And yeah, didn't do too much more damage than that. So this, I would say this was more of a loss. We killed a lot of T1s, but that doesn't really make too much of a difference. But yeah, so like I said, I would have probably gone, I probably would have gone range there, and it probably would have done a lot better. So let's look at what they had left after that. So you can see basically the only thing that's changed is the T14 siege has been decreased there. And then we attacked again. This time I think we did what I was recommending, which is Archer, and came out about even on power. Still not amazing. Let's look at how many troops. 17, 18 million troops. Maybe should have done a little bit better than that, but I don't know. They might have had. They basically had the same reigns in there. So this time, of course, we're going to clear the calves. So we cleared T14 calves, T13 calves, T12. Did we clear it all the way down? Yeah, so we cleared all the calves all the way down, and then killed some additional things. If we had a little bit more power in the rally, we would have killed more of the T14 range and T14 ground after that. But looks like we just kind of had enough to kill the calves there, and this was about even. If this guy was a little bit bigger and had more calves, I think we would have done actually a little bit better on this. This time we had a decent amount of people here. Again, we have some random gens and maybe not what we're looking for in terms of troop composition and stuff like that. So definitely could have gone a little bit better, but came out all right. And yeah, so then afterwards sent a mount. Mount was a little bit negative, but was also a smaller rally there. And they definitely were focusing on their ground defense and HP buffs, and so that's probably why it didn't do quite as well. It basically only killed the T14s and T13s, and didn't really do too much more than that. And there were less people in this rally, so some people sending things without assistant generals. Yeah, a couple people sending things without assistant generals. Some people sending ground generals for a mount rally. Yeah, that's nothing either. So looks like we only had a couple of kind of really solid marches in there. Otherwise, we would have done a lot better. But yeah, we're slowly, kind of ticking down on that. He's after this, he's kind of at 3.3 billion, and let's keep going. So this one actually was a lot better. So after this, we tried a ground rally, and we were definitely positive here. Our ground buffs were definitely a lot better than his ground buffs, which is the main reason why we did better. And again, his cav was all gone, so his cav wasn't defending quite as well again, or he didn't have cav to defend against our ground rally, and we were able to clear ground and range from here. So we actually cleared quite a bit here. I think pretty much all the ground, and most of the archers, and a little bit of the siege. And then I think after this, let's see. Nope. So I don't have the the report for that. Likely someone just, someone just soloed after that and picked up a pretty nice ground clear after that. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show that progression of what we were doing. Again, I would probably switch the siege. I would do, archer first, because the archer buffs weren't particularly good. If we wanted to throw a siege in there, we could do a siege, then mount, again, mount with the right generals and the right presets and all that, and then ground. And we should have cleared that with that ground rally, instead of having to have someone solo and clean up. But yeah, let's look at some of the other things. This was a pretty decent ground clear that I had. It's not going to be anything special. It's basically going to be siege and range that are left. But yeah, basically it was a pretty big ground clear, 1.2 billion. But I did want to show that sometimes with ground clears, they just don't go well. So this was the attack before that. And so, as you can see, it was actually very, very negative. And that was basically because they had enough ground, or enough non-siege and range, that, yeah, you can see that this T12 ground, T11 ground, T10, and all the way down, was able to withstand my ground, and so I wasn't able to do a clear on that. But you can see that just one attack later, it was able to do significantly better. So sometimes ground are kind of high risk, high reward, based on whether you can kind of clear those ground and, sometimes even mount layers. But when you do, it's a huge payoff, like we saw in the previous report. And then, yeah, just a solo archer targeted the calves, and killed a lot of the T14s and some of the T13s. Oh, this is another one that I kind of wanted to show. This one actually probably should have been a clear. It was just, they had a few too many troops, and if I had been sending a senior, if I had sent a few more troops, or maybe even just a little bit T14 heavier, this would have been a clear. But even so, 1.8 billion in a solo is still pretty good. This person is definitely down to just range and siege, which is when you want to use that ground solo. But yeah, basically the siege was left. Someone else cleaned up the rest of it, but it was a pretty solid hit. And so even though I didn't end up killing it, I definitely got some great points from that. So wanted to share that as well. All right, I think that's going to be most of the reports that I have saved here. I hope you enjoy kind of this analysis. I'll probably be doing it on and off as we have some interesting things to share. But yeah, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about it in the comments, or if you want to see anything different in the next videos. Thanks, everyone.